In 1978, a group of scientists in London, with no ties to religion, decided to analyze the Shroud of Turin. Their initial intention was simple: to discover the fraud behind that mysterious image. However, what they found defied their logic. It was a unique three-dimensional representation, formed only in the most superficial fibers of the canvas, a phenomenon inexplicable even to modern science. Why has the Church preferred to focus on dogmas and hierarchies rather than explore these discoveries about the figure of Jesus? What essential aspects of his message have been lost or distorted to serve human interests? The answer lies at the heart of J.J. Benitez's account. According to him, the message of Jesus was not related to ecclesiastical structures or to any religion. It was an invitation to equality, spiritual freedom, and direct connection with the Blue Father. If you enjoy content that helps you grow spiritually, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and join our community for more inspiration. Let's get started. These ideas were dangerous to the established powers of his time. After his death, Peter and other followers saw an opportunity to transform his legacy into an organization. Thus was born what we know today as the Church, a system that abandoned the original essence of his message in favor of control and expansion. In Trojan Horse, we are presented with a completely different Jesus than the one that has been portrayed for centuries. This is not the crucified Christ that is exalted in altars. He is a man close to us, smiling and full of compassion. His public life, reconstructed in detail in the book, shows a coherence and a beauty that have nothing to do with the imposed traditions. J.J. Benitez himself describes how, after his research on the Shroud, his interest in Jesus was reborn. It was not for the Church, but for the man-God who represented a challenge to the official narrative. The research and testimonies collected reveal that his message advocated a united humanity, without distinctions of gender, wealth, or social status. However, this disruptive approach did not suit the elites of the time or the religious institutions that subsequently emerged. What emerges from this story is a message of hope and personal transformation, far removed from any imposed dogma. Jesus, as described by Benitez, remains a figure who invites each individual to seek his or her own connection with the divine, free from human intermediaries or impositions. The idea that Jesus of Nazareth did not found any church may seem revolutionary, but it is a reflection that takes force when analyzing how religious institutions have shaped spirituality over time. According to J.J. Benitez, Jesus never intended to create hierarchical structures or dogmas. His message was much more direct and human, appealing to the personal connection with the Blue Father and rejecting any institutional mediation. It was a call to equality and pure love, a truth that continues to resonate in the hearts of those seeking something beyond the material. We all face moments when life feels overwhelming and finding answers seems impossible. In those moments, understanding and guidance can make all the difference. This is exactly what The Secret of Jesus' Apparitions offers, a path to clarity and peace through his revelations. This ebook goes into his prophecies and offers insight into what lies ahead. It's available for free in the pinned comment. Grab it now before the edition's gone. As the original message was adapted, labels and boundaries were introduced that sought to establish a controlled order. This not only distorted the initial teachings, but also allowed corruption and power to penetrate deeply into organized religions. Cases such as John Paul I's attempt to clean up the Vatican banking system and the suspicions surrounding his death reflect the challenges of confronting a system rooted in material interests. Beyond these earthly issues, Benitez offers a perspective that blends science and spirituality. During his research in remote places, such as the Guadalajara Desert in Algeria, he found engravings and figures that defied conventional explanation. These hybrid representations of animal-headed beings, similar to Egyptian gods, suggest that ancient cultures may have witnessed extraordinary phenomena that influenced their mythology. This mix of spirituality and mysterious discoveries does not stop there. He reports having witnessed ships and crew members whose existence seems to be straight out of a science fiction story. Descriptions of spacecraft of different shapes and sizes, and encounters with beings that cause both astonishment and fear, enrich his narrative with elements that invite us to rethink our understanding of the universe and life. However, what stands out most in his narrative is his belief in a higher order that governs everything. According to him, there are no coincidences, but a system perfectly designed by a divine intelligence that subtly guides events. This optimistic view suggests that humanity, despite its mistakes, is destined to evolve toward a state of happiness, even if this does not occur in this earthly life. He attributes his ability to connect these pieces to a kind of divine assistance. During his research, when doubts assailed him, the answers seemed to come in unexpected ways, reinforcing his faith that there is a higher force that guides us along the way. In the course of the investigations, he recounts cases that challenge traditional notions of life and death. Among the stories, there are those who claim to have received warnings or transcendental messages through dreams. One such case is that of a man who, after losing his father, began to experience recurring dreams in which his father gave him specific instructions on how to solve financial problems he was facing. The shocking thing was that every detail was accurately confirmed upon investigation. Although these phenomena are difficult to explain, they open a window into the possibility that death is just a transition to a more complex form of existence. He also narrates the sensation experienced in an operating room during a critical accident. That experience, characterized as a condition of heavy and lovely sleep, promotes the concept that death is not a dreadful conclusion, but a doorway to something very calm. This type of testimony underscores that the fear narrative associated with the afterlife, promoted for centuries by religious institutions, may have been designed to control the masses. The wisdom you've been seeking might just be within reach. Don't forget, the ebook is waiting for you, but only a few copies are available. Download it now, before it's too late. In his multiple encounters with witnesses, he stresses the importance of questioning people several times and at long intervals. This method allowed him to identify consistent patterns in accounts of encounters with deceased beings that seemed to reflect an ideal state. The curious thing is that these apparitions often show the deceased in a rejuvenated and full of vitality version, suggesting that the concept of the physical body changes radically after death. The idea of eternal punishment was an invention used to instill fear and gain control. In contrast, he proposes an understanding where the Blue Father represents a higher intelligence incapable of taking offense or punishment, reinforcing the notion that we are part of a cosmic order designed for evolution and continuous learning. Amidst accounts that seem to defy any conventional logic, J.J. Benitez narrates episodes that connect symbolism, mathematics, and spirituality in unexpected ways. One of the most intriguing cases arises with the numerical sequence found in Trojan Horse 9. What initially appeared to be a meaningless series of numbers turned out to be, after expert analysis, a musical composition. This revelation, arising from an almost inexplicable intuition, reinforces the feeling that something extraordinary guides these stories. The resulting music, according to those who had the opportunity to listen to it, had a profoundly transformative effect, evoking emotions and connections that transcend the physical. These kinds of discoveries are not the result of conscious design, but of an inner whisper, that voice that we all carry within us, but that few know how to interpret. For him, these experiences are a reminder that our understanding of existence is just a glimmer in the face of a universe of infinite possibilities. Another fascinating aspect is the supposed appearance of Jesus in places such as Alexandria, Tyre and Alman after his death, events that are not well documented in the canonical texts. The precision in the distances between these locations led to calculations that fit into patterns of the Kabbalah, a field Benitez admits he does not master. When compared to traditional interpretations, however, the findings suggest a degree of symbolism and intricacy that is intended to communicate more complex meanings. This connection between the mystical and the mathematical is also reflected in the perception of Jesus not only as a divine man, but as a cosmic entity that governs our galaxy. According to Benitez, each galaxy has its own divine ruler, and the Blue Father is above them all, guiding an order that human beings cannot fully comprehend. This idea, far from being discouraging, reinforces the beauty of the unknown and the promise that many answers will only be revealed after death. In the meantime, what remains is the invitation to explore, question, and connect with a spirituality that does not depend on dogmas or intermediaries. Each fragment of the stories he gathers in Trojan Horses seems designed not to provide definitive answers, but to ignite in each reader a spark of curiosity and wonder. Among the research, one intriguing and, for many, puzzling theory stands out: the law of contract. According to this hypothesis, most people are born on Earth with a previously agreed purpose, a pact that defines their experiences, challenges, and learning. Although at the moment of birth the memory of this agreement is lost, everything lived would be part of a consciously chosen path at a higher level. Discover a message that transcends time and offers clarity for today. Grab your copy of the ebook while it's still available. Just a few left. Find it in the first pinned comment. An example of this law could be the case of a man who, after facing years of extreme poverty and loneliness, reported having experienced an unexpected encounter in his dreams with what he described as beings of light. They showed him bits and pieces of his life in the dream and told him that he had accepted his prenatal conditions so that he might have strong compassion for other people. Upon awakening, he said he felt liberated from the bitterness he had accumulated over the years, realizing that each difficult moment had a greater purpose. This idea also offers a new perspective on the suffering and inequalities we encounter in the world. At first, he found it devastating to see human suffering, as in the case of beggars on the streets. However, after studying this theory, he began to consider the possibility that even these lives are guided by prior choices, where every experience, no matter how harsh it may seem, has a hidden meaning. Another fascinating element in the stories is the notion that, upon death, we recover our entire memory. According to these accounts, death is not only a transit, but an opportunity to remember who we really are and why we chose our earthly lives. This rediscovery would be the starting point for a new stage of existence in unknown dimensions, but full of light and purpose. In the midst of these revelations, the Trojan Horses also mention a prophetic event that is marked in the future of humanity. In the year 2027, a great catastrophe would be destined to shake the world, giving way to what is described as the Great Light. This term, taken from words attributed to Jesus in Aramaic, represents not just a disaster, but the beginning of a transformation that would mark the end of an era of darkness to give way to a spiritual and cosmic rebirth. One of the most intriguing aspects of the life of Jesus of Nazareth is how his image and message have been reinterpreted over the centuries. According to detailed information, his resurrection, far from being a simple or limited phenomenon, was an event that challenged human notions of life and death. It is said that he appeared not only in Jerusalem, but in at least 19 different places, leaving a trail of encounters that went beyond the supernatural. In one of these episodes, it is narrated how Jesus was recognized by his voice more than by his figure. In a small village near what is now Amman, a group of fishermen claimed to have seen a translucent figure approaching. The extraordinary thing was that, as he spoke, they immediately recognized his voice as that of the Master. Despite his unusual, otherworldly looks, the sincerity and resonance of his words touched their hearts and changed their lives in an irrevocable way. These appearances were not only moments of awe, but also of teaching. It is said that in Tyre, Jesus spoke to a group about the true nature of life after death. He explained that the physical body was but a temporary vessel, and that, upon transcending it, existence reached a dimension that humans cannot yet fully comprehend. This message, far from being frightening, offered comfort and hope to those who heard it. Answers and hope are closer than you think. Remember, there are only a few copies available of the ebook. Act now to secure yours before they're gone. Another fascinating detail is the description of his crucifixion. According to some research, the instrument of torture was not a cross as traditionally depicted, but a horizontal wood that the prisoner had to carry to his place of execution. This not only defies the popular images of his sacrifice, but also underlines the brutality of the process to which he was subjected. The precision of the details, such as the placement of the nails in the wrists rather than in the hands, brings a historical and human dimension to an event that has been deeply romanticized. If this message makes you reflect and you feel it connects with you, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. Also, if you really want to support our work and help us continue to create valuable content, consider giving us a super thanks. Join this amazing community and don't miss any news. The most shocking thing is that Jesus, according to these reports, would have been resurrected by his own power. It was not an external act or an external miracle, but a direct manifestation of his divine essence. This event, which marked the beginning of his series of apparitions, blurs the boundaries between the human and the divine, showing a being whose connection with the cosmos transcends any earthly understanding. These narratives do not simply seek to challenge the official versions, but to present a more relatable and understandable figure, whose actions and words continue to resonate with those who seek answers beyond the established.